The cracks in facade are becoming impossible to ignore as Donald Trump appears to be spiraling in the face of a relentless wave of catastrophic news. The narrative coming out of the White House is one of the leader crashing out, desperately attempting to pivot the national conversation away from a series of historic failures that have left his administration reeling. From the worst economic polling in American presidential history to a humiliating diplomatic standoff with Iran, the pressure has reached a boiling point, manifesting in a frantic and unhinged social media blitz that signals a presidency in deep distress. The primary catalyst of this latest meltdown is the release of the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Report, which has plummeted to 49.8, the lowest reading in the index's 50-year history. This figure is more than just a statistic. It is a visceral reflection of American anxiety over inflation, soaring gas prices, and the fallout of an unlawful war. Compounding this economic nightmare is the revelation that Trump's net approval on the economy has hit a staggering minus 32 points. This isn't just a personal low. It is statistically worse than the ratings held by Joe Biden, George W. Bush, or even Jimmy Carter at similar points in their terms. For a president who has staked his entire identity on economic prowess, being branded the most unpopular economic leader in history is a blow from which he is struggling to recover. To distract from these crushing numbers, the administration has pivoted to grim and dramatic policy shifts, such as the Justice Department's sudden announcement that it would re-adopt the firing squad as a means of federal execution. While the Department of Defense attempts to project strength, the reality on the ground tells a different story. In an attempt to manipulate the markets and project diplomatic control, Trump announced he was sending Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner to Pakistan for high-level talks with Iran's foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi. However, the diplomatic theater was quickly dismantled by the Iranians themselves. Araghchi flatly stated that no negotiations with the United States would take place, emphasizing that his priorities lay with regional partners in Moscow and Muscat. The sight of U.S. envoys being publicly rebuffed highlights a growing perception of American weakness on the global stage. The desperation in the White House has trickled down to Trump's social media presence, where he has unleashed a torrent of treason accusations against his predecessors. In a series of increasingly erratic posts, he has called for the arrest of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, claiming without evidence that they spearheaded a seditious conspiracy to overthrow the government. This rhetoric is often accompanied by strange AI-generated imagery, creating a surreal digital landscape that serves as a shield against the mounting evidence of his administration's strategic blunders. Adding to the sense of isolation, NATO has officially snubbed the United States, choosing Saab over Boeing for its new fleet of surveillance aircraft. This decision follows the destruction of a U.S. E-3 AWACS plane by Iran, a loss that has shaken European confidence in American military technology. As European nations push for industrial autonomy, they are signaling that the United States is becoming a liability rather than a protector. Trump's response, threatening to punish NATO allies like Spain and Italy while simultaneously inviting Vladimir Putin to the G20 summit in Miami, has left observers stunned, with many questioning the logic of attacking allies while courting a global pariah. As the administration doubles down on a naval blockade that Iran continues to challenge with sophisticated mining operations in the Strait of Hormuz, the death loop of empty promises and shifting deadlines continues. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth continues to praise Trump's unshakable fortitude, but the reality of depleted weapon arsenals and a fractured international coalition suggests otherwise. The image of a president lashing out at ghosts of the past while the foundations of his current authority crumble suggests a White House that is no longer in control of the narrative, but rather a victim of its own escalating chaos.